Reading 12, Sunday the 5th of April, and I'm still out at Warwick with the work crew. After I wrote the last paragraph, I had a disturbing couple of days. It was serious enough that I didn't tell my family because I didn't want them to worry about me. I knew it would take longer than overnight to win over these nasty older women. They're in their 40s and 50s. And most of them look a lot older than what they were. Most women I know in that age group are at least polite. These women have the culmination of years and bitterness riding on their shoulders without knowing much grace. Their longevity and hard work is the only thing that gives them a sense of value, that they are the age they are and that they've worked hard. Well, some of them have not really had, whatever they've done has been hard. And they've probably lived with really hard people as well. Life must be very frightening for them. Well, I found out that the officer, the one looking after us, told them off for discriminating against me because they were basically just bitching about me because I was a Christian. And of course, if you have a life where you blame God for the things that have gone wrong in your life, then you're not going to be inclined very nicely towards a person who does like God and represents him. So anyway, they just didn't like me. And so the officer told them off for discriminating against me. And they immediately thought that I had complained, something you don't do in prison. Of course, it doesn't stop them from doing it. While they stopped being openly hostile, I still get the cold shoulder. Yeah, they were pretty hostile. And then they were very cold. And anyway, I prayed on and off all night, asking the Lord to bless them and their families, their jobs, the jobs that they have to do with while they're in prison, their finances, and to soften their hearts. The next day, I was left home with the ringleader. Something had changed. We chatted, and I swore to her that I had not spoken to the officer, and she answered stiffly, "I never said you did." My reply was, "Well, that would be my first thought in your position." I was mortified. I was mortified that the officer made things worse by calling them out on their discrimination. It just didn't help. It really didn't help. It just made it worse. And I said to her, "I just want to get along and do my time just like you do." We made cakes together and she showed me how to make butter icing for them, and another battle won. Or so I thought. No, she was not being nice to me to be nice to me. Found that out later. Funny thing about this particular woman, a friend of mine who is on the Gold Coast told me later on after I'd got home that she saw this woman down the street of the Gold Coast. She was a little lady, very skinny. She had some teeth missing, face very drawn, very hard. And she was shuffling along, barely looking at anything, just minding her own business, with what she imagined was a waft of mothballs, that smell of secondhand clothes, and she looked homeless. I don't know whether she was, but she looked like she was. And she was so powerful in prison. She was so admired and respected by her gang of other older ladies, and on the outside, I don't think things went very well for her. Sad. One of the bitchy things they did was not just to me. 5 of them live in dongas, which are these portable rooms outside the house, next to the house and connected by a veranda. They have a separate bathroom while the rest of us live inside the house. The gas to the house ran out, which meant no hot water. The next morning, the outside women claimed to have no hot water either. But the fact was, they just didn't want to share their showers. They didn't want anybody else using their showers, even though they'd finished with theirs. One of the friends staying in the house, one of their friends who was in the house, had used their bathroom and said, "Oh, yes, it was freezing." And my roommates guessed they were lying, but I couldn't condemn them without evidence. I'm a bit of a sucker that way. I will take people at face value, and if they say something, I'll just believe it. But my roommates were a bit more savvy than me. I couldn't condemn without evidence, so I quietly slipped into their bathroom and I ran the hot tap. Sure enough, it was nice and warm. Too late for me, though. I'd had my cold shower. I said nothing, but they were found out, and the supervisor was furious. And I just shook my head. And I really don't understand that kind of childish selfishness. I just don't. In grown women, mature women, and they just didn't want us in their space. I actually felt embarrassed for them because everyone knew. And I thought, how do you face everyone when you've been caught out doing that? Well, it's a funny thing. And they weren't sorry. They're just like, whatever. And oddly, this is what was puzzling to me. By the end of the day, they were all good friends again, laughing and talking, and all was forgiven. I wonder if their easy acceptance is because we've all done the wrong thing and not in a position to hold a grudge, or that kind of poor behaviour, or if that kind of poor behaviour just goes with the territory. So it's no big deal. I've seen this many times in prison. They seem to get over each other's bad behaviour much more easily than people on the outside, including in church. So I guess they're used to it, so they just seem to get over it. Don't know if they really do, but they seem to. I thought I too had been extended this forgiveness and acceptance. I should have known better. All right, I'll leave it there. You can find out what happens next tomorrow. So if you would like to, if you enjoyed that, you can go to, if you're not happening to watch this on YouTube, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Trish Jenkins Faith. And I've got a playlist there that you can catch up and watch all of them. But otherwise, if you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, sharing, all that sort of stuff, because it'd be good to get more people knowing about it. All right. Bless you heaps, and I will see you tomorrow.